You think you have focus, but the truth is you don't. Most men confuse being busy with being productive, and that's why they stay trapped in mediocrity. You jump from one task to another. You check your phone every 5 minutes. You start projects but rarely finish them. That's not focus. That's weakness disguised as effort. Here's the uncomfortable truth. A distracted man is a defeated man. Miyamoto Musashi, the greatest samurai philosopher in history, understood this centuries ago. He fought more than 60 duels without ever losing, not because he was the fastest, but because his focus was absolute. One strike, one intention, one unbreakable mind. In this video, you're going to discover the samurai method to become focused, a system that will cut through the noise, sharpen your mind, and give you the power to dominate any challenge. And if you stay with me until the end, you'll learn the hidden teaching Musashi used to keep his focus unshakable even in the chaos of battle. The first step to true focus is brutal honesty. Most men don't know how weak their attention really is because they never measure it. Musashi started every battle with clarity. He knew exactly where his opponent stood, what the environment demanded, and how his body responded. Without this ruthless awareness, no amount of practice mattered. Applied to your life, this means confronting the distractions you pretend don't exist. Track your hours. See how much time you actually give to your goals versus how much you waste on screens, noise, and empty movement. It's not comfortable, but neither was Musashi's training. He cut away illusions with the same sharpness as his blade. Focus begins when you strip away lies. If you think you're working hard but spend hours scrolling, you're not disciplined. You're delusional. Musashi taught that the warrior's first strike is against himself, against his own weakness. You cannot defeat the enemy outside until you master the enemy within. That's why your first cut must be against distraction. Identify it, name it, and eliminate it. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Whether it's your phone, your habits, or your excuses, the act of removing them is a foundation of focus. Musashi didn't wait for better conditions. He created them by discipline. When you dare to see the truth of your scattered life, the path becomes clear. Focus isn't about adding more strategies or tools. It's about cutting away everything unnecessary. That is the first strike of the samurai. Reducing life to what matters until nothing stands between you and your goal. Musashi believed the sword was not just a weapon. It was a mirror of the mind. A distracted swordsman would die, no matter how strong or fast he was. That's why Musashi repeated the same cut thousands of times, not only to sharpen his technique, but to discipline his concentration. Each movement was a lesson in presence. For you, this means training your mind with the same intensity. Instead of letting thoughts scatter in 10 directions, pick one task and hold to it like Musashi held his strike. When the impulse to switch arises, resist it. Every repetition strengthens the muscle of focus. Like the blade, your attention grows sharp only through endless practice. Modern men sabotage themselves by multitasking, thinking they can do more. But Musashi knew that doing less with absolute precision beats doing more with distraction. He mastered one cut, one stance, one rhythm, and from that foundation, he became unbeatable. Simplicity created mastery. Focus, then, is not about chasing productivity hacks or apps. It is about building rituals that center your mind. Start with something small but deliberate. Reading one page without drifting, finishing one workout without checking your phone, writing one paragraph without interruption. These are the modern cuts of your blade. Over time, this training reshapes your mind. You stop chasing stimulation, and instead you find power in stillness. That is when your focus becomes unshakable. When the world's noise no longer pulls you away, because your mind has been forged through repetition into the weapon of a warrior. Focus is not built by adding more to your life. It is built by removing what weakens you. Musashi lived with almost nothing: his swords, his clothes, and his discipline. He moved from place to place without attachment, not because he despised comfort, but because he refused to let comfort own him. Simplicity made his attention absolute. Your distractions are not accidents. They are choices you allowed to stay. Every app you keep, every useless routine you tolerate, every environment filled with noise is a blade turned against your own focus. To live like a samurai, you must eliminate them with precision, the same way Musashi cut down his opponents. Think of it this way. Every unnecessary thing steals a fragment of your mind. When you remove them, you reclaim those fragments and gather them into one sharp point. That is why elimination is not loss, it is power. Focused men do not carry what is useless. They strip their lives down to essentials and find freedom in the discipline. The modern man fears boredom, but Musashi embraced it. By choosing less, he made his mind stronger. He didn't need stimulation to feel alive. He needed silence, repetition, and clarity. You must learn the same discipline, to cut away, to live with less, and to discover that fewer distractions create more strength. When you practice elimination, focus stops being fragile. You no longer battle against endless temptations because you remove them from your path. That's how Musashi became unstoppable. Not by willpower alone, but by refusing to let weakness even enter his life. A scattered intention produces scattered results. Musashi never stepped into a duel thinking of 10 possibilities. His mind was fixed on one strike, one outcome, one victory. That single intent made his movements lethal. He didn't waste energy imagining alternatives. He committed fully to the path in front of him. Modern men weaken themselves by splitting focus between too many goals. They want wealth, comfort, validation, entertainment, all at once. But power comes from directing everything toward one target. When your energy is united under a single intent, distractions lose their grip because you no longer leave space for them. This principle is not about limiting your dreams. It is about sequencing them. Musashi knew he couldn't master every art simultaneously. He chose one, mastered it, then expanded, first the sword, then painting, then writing. Each discipline was conquered through single intent before moving to the next. Applied to your life, this means stop chasing everything at once. Decide what matters most now, one goal that defines your direction. Every action, every choice, every habit should point toward it. Like a warrior aiming at his opponent's heart, there is no room for hesitation. Once you align with a single intent, focus becomes natural. You stop fighting distractions because your energy is too concentrated to scatter. This is the true discipline of a samurai mind. One purpose. Live with such clarity that nothing else has the power to pull you away. Musashi mastered the art of presence. In battle, he didn't let his mind wander to past mistakes or future fears. His attention was locked into the moment. Every sense sharpened, every detail absorbed. Presence was not optional. It was survival. Without it, even the greatest swordsman could fall. In your own life, presence is what separates real progress from empty motion. You can work for hours distracted and achieve nothing. Or you can give 30 minutes of complete attention and produce results that move your life forward. Focus is less about time and more about intensity. The quality of your presence. Creating rituals of presence transforms this into a daily habit. For Musashi, meditation, calligraphy, and sword practice were not separate acts. They were training for the same state of mind. Each demanded stillness, rhythm, and control. Through them, presence became automatic. You can do the same with simple practices. Put your phone away when you eat and make the meal a meditation. Dedicate 5 minutes to observing your breath before you work. Turn each repetition at the gym into an act of attention. These rituals sharpen the mind, just as Musashi sharpened his blade. When you live with presence, distractions no longer control you. The noise of the world fades, because your focus is anchored in the moment. That is how Musashi fought without fear and how you can live with clarity. By training your mind to remain exactly where you are, unshaken and unstoppable. Focus is not built in a single day of effort. It is forged in the fire of repetition. Musashi understood this truth better than anyone. He trained the same strikes, the same stances, and the same disciplines endlessly until they became part of his very nature. His power was not the result of talent, but of relentless consistency. Most men fail because they chase intensity instead of discipline. They want results quickly, so they push themselves hard for a short time, then collapse back into old habits. Musashi knew that this approach was weakness disguised as effort. True focus is not about bursts of energy, but about steady practice that never breaks. Consistency creates reliability. When you repeat the same focused actions every day, you no longer rely on willpower or mood. Your body and mind move together automatically. This is why Musashi never hesitated in battle. His strikes flowed without thought because he had repeated them thousands of times. For you, the same principle applies. Choose one habit that strengthens your focus, whether it's deep work, training, or study, and do it daily without exception. It doesn't matter if it's for 10 minutes or 2 hours. What matters is that you don't break the chain. Every day adds another link to the armor of your discipline. When consistency becomes your foundation, focus stops being fragile. You no longer need motivation to act. You act because it has become your way of life. That is how Musashi lived, and that is how you can build a mind that never wavers, through the discipline of showing up day after day, no matter what. Battlefields were never quiet, and yet Musashi kept his mind unshaken. Shouts, steel, and blood surrounded him, but his focus did not break. This calm within chaos was one of his greatest strengths. He understood that the world would never be free of noise, so he trained himself to remain centered despite it. Most men wait for perfect conditions before they attempt to focus. They want silence, comfort, or inspiration, but this is weakness. If you can only concentrate when everything is ideal, you will fail the moment life becomes difficult. Musashi's way was different. He learned to focus under pressure, so nothing could shake him. This is where true mastery of focus lies, in being able to work, think, and act clearly even when the environment is loud, unpredictable, or hostile. If you can hold your mind steady in those conditions, then ordinary distractions lose all their power over you. To train this, you must deliberately expose yourself to small doses of chaos. Work in less than perfect conditions. Train even when tired. Practice focus in noisy places. Each time you hold your attention steady, you build the mental armor Musashi carried into every duel. When calm becomes your weapon, chaos no longer defeats you. The noise of the world turns into background, and your focus becomes like a blade cutting straight through it. This is how the samurai lived. Not by escaping the storm, but by becoming still within it. The ultimate level of focus is not built on motivation, but on identity. Musashi didn't wake up each morning hoping to feel inspired. He acted because discipline was who he was. His focus was not a choice he made occasionally. It was the way he lived every moment of his life. Most men fail because they think focus is temporary. They believe it is something you do when you need results, then abandon when life feels easier. But true warriors know there's no off switch. The way is constant, even when you're tired, even when you fail, even when no one is watching. This constancy transforms focus from an effort into a state of being. When it becomes your way, you no longer struggle to resist distractions. They simply lose their power over you, because your mind is aligned with something greater, the discipline of never straying from the path. Musashi's words capture this truth. Never stray from the way. For simple words that contain the secret to unshakable focus. He lived them through victory and defeat, through youth and old age, through silence and chaos. The way never left him, because he never left the way. When you adopt this principle, focus ceases to be fragile. It becomes unbreakable because it is not dependent on mood or circumstance. It is your identity. That is a samurai method, not a temporary tactic, but a lifelong commitment that makes you unstoppable. Focus is not a trick, a hack, or a temporary state. It is a way of life, a discipline that must be sharpened every day, just as Musashi sharpened his blade. He proved that true strength comes not from talent or luck, but from the relentless practice of presence, elimination, intent, and consistency. These are the rings of focus, and they are waiting for you. Think of what would happen if you truly lived this way, if distractions no longer controlled you, if your energy was united toward one clear purpose, if every action, no matter how small, became an act of presence. Your results would multiply, your confidence would grow, and most importantly, you would become unshakable in a world full of noise. But here lies the final secret. The path is endless. Musashi never believed he had arrived. Even after 60 victories, he called himself a student. That humility kept his focus alive. The same must be true for you. Discipline is not a phase. It is the ground you walk on, the air you breathe, the way you live. So take this as your challenge. Begin today with one cut, one act of pure focus. Remove a distraction, repeat a ritual, or choose a single intent. Do it not for motivation, but because this is who you are becoming. Each day you remain on the path, your focus hardens into steel. And here is your bonus lesson. For stay with me until the end. Remember that the greatest battles are not fought with swords, but with the mind. If you master focus, you master everything. That is Musashi's true gift to you. The power to live with clarity, strength, and an unbreakable will.